Welcome to Madison City Channel's Know Your Candidates interviews, co-sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Dane County. I'm your interviewer, Gail Bliss, and I would like to introduce Paul Skidmore, running for Alder in District 9. As we begin, I'd like to ask you to give us an opening statement as to the educational, vocational, and civic experience you have, which qualifies you for this office, and why you are running for Alder.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Paul Skidmore, and I'm running for election as 9th District Alder. I have a passion for public service. I understand the needs, wants, and issues of the 9th District constituents, and I have the education, knowledge, and experience to effectively represent them on the City Council. I spent 20 years serving the 9th District constituents, city staff, 4 mayors, 3 city attorneys, and others to solve problems. I served on many city boards, commissions, committees, task force, and work groups. I have extensive professional background in public safety, public works and development, and park planning and design. I am a graduate landscape architect. I'm licensed by the state of Wisconsin, and I practice landscape architecture. And I've worked extensively in that field throughout my career. I originally started in public service in the city of Madison when I was appointed by Paul Soglin to the Park Commission in about 1990. So I was in public service for about 30 years for the city before getting off the council in 2022 or 21. I'm sorry. When I first decided to run for Alder, I received sage advice from my political mentors. To understand the needs, wants, and issues of constituents, you need to get out and talk to them, ask questions, and respond. I followed that advice, and it served me well. I spent 20 years knocking on doors, talking to constituents, attending neighborhood meetings, listening sessions, neighborhood parades, picnics, and celebrations. I responded to literally thousands of emails, phone calls, and letters during that time. I effectively represented my constituents on the Common Council.
What actions or programs would you support to enhance public safety in Madison? And in particular, what is your position on the use of body cameras by Madison police officers?
Great question. Thank you. I am known for my advocacy and unconditional support of the Madison Police Department and the Madison Fire Department, and that's aroused the ire of some through the years. I have a number of issues that I think are very important. First and foremost, we need public contact. We need people in the neighborhoods being liaisons. I strongly support the neighborhood officer program, the neighborhood liaisons, and Chief Barnes' recent successful effort to bring on 6 more officers, I believe, as community liaisons to work with neighborhoods. It's very effective to rather than just have people patrolling. I think it's very important to have that outreach, and that showed dividends back in the 90s and 2000 era, and it will show dividends again when we get back to that. I also think that we need to provide adequate resources to all levels of public safety, and that is not just the patrol. We need to have an effective patrol force that can end any threat at any time, but we also need the community outreach. We need to protect our schools. We need to be able to educate, and this goes for the fire department too in terms of public safety. We need to have effective coverage, which now we finally do with the addition of fire rescue number 14 down in the southeast part of the city. And to answer your question about body-worn cameras, I was one of the early supporters and early sponsors of the legislation, which continually was shot down on the council level. All of our communities around us and Dane County have authorized the use of body-worn cameras. Are an effective means of providing transparency and accountability both for the police as well as the people in the public. They've been shown to work, and there are countless times when you watch the news and other media that you see the body-worn camera footage that really discerns and discloses what's going on. They're an effective tool, nothing more, nothing less. There are safeguards to not misuse them. And I'm very excited about the pilot project that Chief Barnes will be implementing this next year on the North District. The real test is going to come when the vote comes to see do we or how do we implement a full body-worn camera system. The cameras are simple. The storage and retrieval of the information is a bit of an issue, but that's something that we can work through. Many of the other communities around the country that have them have done it successfully.
What do you see as the most important environmental issues the city needs to address, and how will you do so?
Another good question. Back in 2018, we experienced what many people said couldn't happen, wouldn't happen. We had about I think it was a 500 or 1,000-year flood, and on the west side in our area, many streets, parks, and buildings were partly underwater or flooded, and it did many millions of dollars of damage. What it's showing us now is that we have to protect our environment and that we have to protect our greenways. And that's a subject that's very important in the 9th District as well as throughout the city and the region. We have greenways and watersheds that have been taking on more and more runoff from urban areas, and they haven't been adequately designed or protected. That's one of the big things that we need to do now. The Sauk Creek Greenway really needs help because we had extensive flooding and erosion. We have many trees that have died, and we need to fix it. And the first step is a stormwater study that Greg Freese and City Engineering is proposing to undertake. They need to finish that, and then we can move to a design phase and a planning stage and a design phase. And that's going to involve some management of the urban forest. We need to have trees for a variety of reasons, including climate control, protecting the watershed, and enjoyment. So I think that is probably the biggest issue in my district.
What is your position on increasing the pay for alders?
Another good question. I know there was a recent effort to dramatically increase the pay, not just a little bit, but by more than tripling it. And as a member of the TFOG task force, we looked at that, and we found a number of interesting opinions from the public, those who did share it. The system is working. It's not broken. We don't need to fix something that's not broken. I support a gradual increase in pay for alders, but I do not look at this position that I held for 20 years and am seeking again, as a full-time job. I'm doing it as public service, and I was content with more of an honorarium and that type of a payment. And I support gradual increases. I do not support it being dramatically increased as the current 9th District Alder and 3 other colleagues had proposed.
What, if anything, do you think the city should be doing to support economic development?
Back in the day, I was a member of the Economic Development Commission for the city, and I supported the promotion of a good, orderly development then, and I still do. I have planning background, public works background, and I have voted on many issues of development. It's a complex issue, but we need to have balance. I support the orderly development, and by that I mean developing solid master plans and neighborhood plans and general implementation plans to develop in an orderly manner. I think it's important. I think it's also important to give incentives like TIF where appropriate to develop or redevelop an area. And I think we also need to look at development incentives for other areas for economic development. In the 9th District, we are blessed with having West Town Mall out here. Many people don't realize that the 9th District has the highest assessed valuation of any district in the city, second only to the 17th District, which has East Town. East Town and West Town are economic generators. They bring in a lot of property tax value, and they bring in jobs and people that come to visit and purchase. We need to support economic development as well as housing. We need a balance.
How do you see racial disparities impacting constituents in your district? And are there any actions the city should take to address those?
Are there racial disparities? In some neighborhoods, yes. In the city, yes. In the 9th District, yes, they're there. I think that we talked about some of racial disparities and how to handle them earlier on when we were talking about having community resource officers, police officers, and liaisons working with residents and neighbors. I've heard so many stories about great interactions between these officers and people within all neighborhoods. I just heard a delightful story a little while ago at Coffee with a Cop, where an officer pulled somebody over to give a warning, and the individual who was driving got very bent out of shape, let us say, at the officer, or excuse me, her mother, or excuse me, the officer for pulling her over. And then a little voice came from the back seat: "Mom, don't holler at Officer Amelia. She's our friend." And that diffused the situation. We need activities like that. We need integration. We need, and by that I mean we need mixing and not polarization. There have been some housing developments that have been criticized, and sometimes fairly, sometimes unfairly, but we need to have people mix and not have just a building be designated as affordable. So there are many options.
What are the most critical issues that you see facing the district and the people in it, and how would you propose to address these?
I've always felt that every neighborhood deserves to be safe, and everybody deserves to be safe in their neighborhood. I stand by that. We, like the rest of the city and many throughout the country, are facing some of the crimes of opportunity and some of the crimes that are associated with reduction in police forces. We have speeding and arterial violations. Traffic has been a problem. We still have chronic car thefts and recidivism of many offenders being arrested for stealing a car and then getting out on just recognizance bail or just being released. That's a problem. That's what I'm told. The other criminal activity has been decreasing. That is a problem. What I'm hearing is some of the other types of problems, like we need to fix the greenways. We need to fix the flooding. We need to restore our greenways. We need to enhance them. We need better programs for kids. There's many things like that. It's not just any one specific item, but there's a variety of them. And then another underlying concern by many is our economic situation. The city has been borrowing lots of money for a bus rapid transit system, and the administration is not sure how we're going to pay for it 2 years down the pike. So we need to address that.
What would you like to say to the viewing audience as we complete this interview?
Well, I am honored to be able to be in this forum, and I want to thank you and the League for putting on the Know Your Candidate. This is the 12th one that I participated in, and I've enjoyed every one of them. I want to thank you. What I would like to say is this is our community. Please take an interest in it. Research us. Don't just look at the hype and what's written. Look at our records. Look at what we've done, what we stand for, and then vote. I think it's very important to get out there and vote. The last local election, I think we had 25%. That's too low. We need to have many more people participating. Take an interest. That's what I'd like to say.
I want to thank Paul Skidmore for speaking with us and the viewing audience for taking the time to know your candidates. I want to remind everyone that primary election day is Tuesday, February 21st, and the general election is Tuesday, April 4th. As with every election, please vote. On behalf of Madison City Channel and the League of Women Voters of Dane County, I thank you for joining us.